Joker-TCG kanalına hoş geldiniz One Piece sevenler. Ben Erol Mehmetov. Yeniden merhaba demek istiyorum One Piece sevenler. Dünya Kupası final maçı Rob Lucci ve Shanks tarafında olacak. Ya yarı finalde gördük. Rob Lucci böyle süründüre oyunu kazandı. Bu 3 maç da aynı şekilde olacak ama 3 ayrı parti olarak yapmayacağım. Çünkü de bayağı bir moralim bozdu bu final. Pek o kadar yorum yapmayacağım bu maçta. Orijinal sesini verip İngilizcesine. Ara sıra yorum yaparım ama benim için çok, nasıl söylesem, sevmediğim bir video olacak. Ama dünya finali yapmadan olmaz. Ve sizi videola baş başa bırakıyorum. İyi eğlenceler.
Piloted by China's own Albao. And who takes
Now,
it?
if we're going first, this is a fantastic set of cards, right? We see our entire
Absolutely.
odd curve, right? We see threes and fives. Maybe just knowing that this is what we're probably going to see in an opening hand, or at least a good opening hand. And I'd be pretty happy to see this as my first five.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, threes and fives, pretty good. Seeing the Marco, ready to knock out maybe Spandan as well. We have our lime juice belt, right? Yeah, so a lot of tools in the belt, and yeah, hopefully we see more sevens and eventually the 10 Shanks.
Now, we do see a
Well,
good
what's really-
even
go ahead.
curve from Rob Lucci, too, right?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Saw the Kekomori in there and everything. I feel like we had that discussion about what Shanks list is it, and so seeing a Marco on the other side there, I mean, I feel like that kind of tells us exactly what it is. It's kind of one of the more classic Shanks lists, right? This looks, from the hand at least, it looks kind of similar to what we saw. Would be the quote unquote OG Shanks list from the beginning of the meta, and hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If you've got enough reps on it, that deck, why not go for it? We are underway here at the grand finals, the championship at Bandai Card Fest here this year.
Yeah, definitely with a good pilot, Shanks can go a long way. It's a lot of fundamentals involved with that leader, and yeah, WF is going to be hopefully bringing in the win this time around. So we are avoiding a double Lucci sweep, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're gonna see what we want to do. We are deciding if we want to keep any Dawn active. We're gonna go 7, and I think because we added that Rad Beam to our hand, we're gonna do this. So in case we need to get out of a larger attack this turn.
Right. Yeah, and that's a cool little adaptation because we see a lot of Red Hawk, right? We see a lot of Bad Manners, of course, but the Rad Beam is something that I feel like in the North American scene we've seen a little bit less frequently, but it's still a great card, obviously.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, one cost is pretty good.
It's one of the
now we
best
do have
one-cost counters out there.
The Brook coming down. We would like to try to get the removal from there, but I don't believe Marco's going to be able to do that by itself. So curious to see what we end up doing.
Potentially just play out the Yasop on the 5.
Yeah, it's always nice to have that plus power for the turn.
We also
And
do
that
see
is the
the
Yasop.
building stake after the hand, which is not always used, but is great for getting some reduction for some removal later on. We're going to become a 6k leader with the Yasop, and they are going to use a Suru to 2k out.
The building snake's always a little bit scary because it's got no counter, but again, if you need the removal, it's one of the better tools that Shanks has access to.
True, and also we do see a 0-cost Bad Manners Kick course that can also be fodder for that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Turns those no counters into counters, essentially.
We're going to attack with leader with kind of an empty swing, right? Get the -1 there for Yasop, turning it into a 4-cost.
Spandine? Spandam. I'll get that right someday.
Oh,
Yeah,
and we
it's-
lost
Maybe
all of
next
it.
year.
It's tough. And
Ooh.
結構質の高い3枚が落ちたか。
All right.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
neat.
So we were able to get the removal, but just barely with Kaku and the Brook reduction too. So not the cleanest way, but it was a way to get rid of the Yasop.
And now we're seeing a 6K attacker on Kaku who can get by the leader effect from Shanks.
Yeah, I feel like you never expect the Yasop to survive, but it's always just one of those things that just makes you a little bit less likely to take that early life. So it's protection
boost
in a
is
way.
pretty
It's
good,
almost
too.
a blocker. Yeah.
Yeah, and if the Yasop was able to survive, the -1 power or 1K power it can give on the attack is really strong. Could help you get
Huge,
rid of this
yeah.
Brook, put it into marker range. But I think we're deciding if we want to use buildings to get rid of this Kaku in conjunction with the Marco.
Mhm.
Yeah, we seem to be dividing our Dawn over here, waiting for
Okay.
that. Oh,
Why not another Yasop to just make a big swing? 8K coming through for Shanks onto the Brooks. That's going to be a definite removal.
guaranteeing the KO here.
Yeah. I like it. I like this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's fine. I think Brook is definitely the target we want to try to guarantee remove, since it does offer removal or reduction, or sometimes both. So we're gonna go back, and we're at 8 Dawn, I believe. So Moria can get its first play here.
Mhm.
But has he dropped enough to validate it as well?
I mean, with
We have
like,
Rebecca,
I think I
we
see
have-
Rebecca in there.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebecca Brook. Yeah, probably enough. You could remove the Yasop with that at least. That and a leader attack, right? So I think you're
Yeah,
in
keeping
pretty good
Shanks
shape.
at no characters is pretty good.
Yeah. Again, as a Shanks player, you kind of expect the Yasop to be removed anyway, and you're like, yeah, it's fine. Again, it's like, it's almost like he's a blocker, you know, where you can just say, all right, focus on my characters. I'm just getting closer to my late game. I'm just staying fairly healthy. Goes down to 3 life there, but that's still not a huge problem. There's another swing though, so here's where you gotta kind of make a decision as the Shanks player, I think.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked about it. Shanks does have this ability once per turn. You can give something -1K on your opponent's side on their turn, so we could -1K and 1K out, but the fact
Yep.
that we're swinging these 7th is really tough, because it means that every time we attack, you're guaranteeing getting 1 card out of WF's hand.
Yeah.
So as you might have seen, we do have only 1 character being played at a turn, and that could be potentially backfire, as we saw from the prior game in the 3rd place match. Marco was playing 1 big body at a time, and Lucci was effectively removing them via Jack and Gekamoria with like Hamepa combo and such. So him being at 3 life already and having this Yasop getting removed can potentially spell danger for him.
Yep, and we're going to use the Tempest kick there, so get the draw, reducing it by 4. And then with Rebecca, and then assumedly Brook, we do get the removal. We don't establish a board, and not even lose cards in hand either.
Yeah. Doesn't need to use that Moria either. Not bad.
Yeah, I think this
All
is
right,
a really
so-
strong start.
It's interesting from the Shanks perspective here too, because now you have a lot of this like mid-range stuff, right? The Silver's Rayleigh, you've got the Marco, and you want to play some of that stuff out there, and yeah, there's the Marco. A little bit of removal on the Rebecca, but it starts to feel a little bit awkward, because you're like, okay, well, very soon I'm going to be spending my whole turn playing one big thing, right? I suppose you have to draw into it, and that's another thing, is WF hasn't drawn into any of that stuff yet.
No, it's all entirely just mid-game cards like the Marco, the Yasop.
Yeah.
No Ben Beckman, no Newgate, nothing at all.
Right.
Yeah, and playing out this Marco is going to be pretty nice, because we do have a good amount of event cards. We do, which protects us from removal inherently, and if we need to keep this around, we have the option to do so. So I do like establishing it this turn.
Yeah, Marco
Where's
was
the
definitely
Jack?
one of the fan favorites back in the day during the Whitebeard era. 1 Dawn for 7K, or with Zoro too.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah. So we could, pressure the removal of this using Jack and Tempest Kick if we want to. Though, they would be able to bring it back rested, so we could pressure into it. And
Yep,
it looks like
there's,
we're going to start
swing
off with the
6th life.
6K at leader.
Right. Minus on the Marco.
And we're losing Spandine and Sabo.
Yeah.
And I think just deciding, asking what is in that trash right now. It's an open resource to see, and Rob Lucci's so good at playing cards or getting advantage from it. So knowing what's in rotation is really important here.
Wow, going
Two
down to
live.
2. Pulled another Silver's Rayleigh too. So that's a little bit scary for me as a Shanks player. Yep. You want to see some bigger stuff. You got a lot of counter, but that's gonna get burned through really fast. You need to find those 10 costs.
Yeah, WF.
Or at least-
he's letting go of the Hongo here.
Yeah. The 8 cost Silver's Rayleigh is nice to see. You'd imagine that's going to be in there. There's the Gecko Moria. So right now, Albao on the Rob Lucci really starting to build a pretty powerful board.
Yeah, we're going to play out the Rebecca, and since the Marco currently costs 4, we can make it, remove it with the Brook. But we're also just able to generate a lot of advantage from this Rebecca and Moria combo.
Uru, I believe, yep. More minus, and there he is. Welcome back, Brook.
Yeah.
So once again, Shanks
thinking
is
about it.
their board. Ooh.
Yeah, now he can discard an event, right, to keep Marco alive.
Yeah, so Radbeam or the Red Hawk can keep it around. It's just, is it worth it, right? That's the decision. These are both really good defensive cards to get out of attacks. And yeah, you're going to say the Red Hawk is not as important. We're going to keep this Marco around.
Yeah, Marco survives another turn, thankfully, but no top end yet, and we see an Anatama being drawn.
Yeah, that's a
this is
really
pretty
rough draw here. Yeah.
Now, luckily, we do have some high cost or power cards that we could use to our advantage with Silvers to get a draw 2 and trash 1, but we're going to remove the Rebecca attack into the Brook and see what they do.
Yeah, might see a Rayleigh in play here.
You could.
6 to Brook.
I think. Yeah, okay, there's the Silver's Rayleigh. Yeah, I think that's, again, just trying to build a board, make them have to have some good removal. You can start cracking back a little bit more.
And we're finally seeing some top end with Silver's Rayleigh Secret Rare from OP08.
Yep. Out time. That's great removal against something like the Rob Lucci because there's so many cards like in that range, you know.
Yeah, -3 to KO, A3 or less is definitely big.
And,
Right.
and specifically, like as a counteraction to like Rebecca Moore, is that you can get the the cost reduction or the power reduction to other things, and still get the free KO of the Rebecca, and then pressure the other cards on board.
Exactly, yeah. Which is really nice when you need to get rid of that Gecko Moria and you don't want to like have to drop like an Otama or something like that to make it cheaper, because we did see him draw one of those.
But we did also keep the Building Snake in hand. That will let Building Snake and Silvers can get rid of a Moria, which is really strong. But we got to get to that point as well.
Yeah, that might be the play, and we just hope that WF sees more top end, a Shanks, something big, because these Marcos are just not enough to get through it.
Yeah. I mean, well, Albao looking a lot healthier over there, but you're feeling the pressure a little bit if you're the Rob Lucci now, right? Because there's what, 3 6Ks out there now, and you're really good at removing single things. You don't really have a great ability to consistently remove multiple things that aren't tipped sideways already, at least. But there's the Jack. Okay, that'll do a little bit.
Yeah, and you kind of really have to get rid of the Silvers. You have to be worried about how much protection is available for these Marcos too. So Albao being able to get the removal is, I think, very strong here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
we have a swing for 6 here, and we're losing Lime Juice, potentially.
Yeah, I mean that's what they're there for, more or less.
But yeah, and Albao's using, I think, the right numbers, being able to put these 6s when they haven't used their leader effect yet. Just meek it. Like Shanks, I don't think has really used their leader effect this game, right? We've been able to play around it for most of it.
Maybe like once, yeah. Not
Yeah.
too often.
Yeah, WF
Eight
blowing
life
through
from
some
Moria.
2Ks.
Oh, there's the Shanks. Okay,
Yeah,
but is it
with no
a little
blocker
too
on
late a
board
little bit?
too. That's
Mhm. Yeah,
Well-
potentially, since he has only 1 life. But, yeah, no blockers.
no blockers makes I think a big difference.
It does. It does. I mean, you can play the Shanks. You can minus power everything. You can maybe run the Shanks into like the Moria, right? And then maybe run the Marcos into some other threats. But I get so scared, right, when I'm at just 1 life in this situation.
Yeah.
If we had like 1 more life, I think Shanks would be a little bit more comfortable right here.
Totally.
But 1 life with no counter in hand, that is quite
Ooh.
terrifying.
This is the Shanks life. We're living Shanks
Yeah.
life right now. Yep.
Yeah, I think he has to get rid of Moria here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I do probably agree that that the Shanks is the best tool to do that. Rayleigh could remove a couple different things. So you combine
Yeah,
like the lime juice and the Rayleigh for that if you want to go that direction.
we can go like Building Snake and Silvers, get rid of
Building
the
Snake,
Moria
right.
inherently.
Yeah.
Give the -2 to maybe either the Jack and Kaku and just try to get some removal, leaving 1 open for Rad Beam. But it's a tight spot for sure.
Yeah, I think the
Definitely,
widest
definitely.
play possible is the best.
All right, let's see what the decision is, and it's
Yeah.
Rayleigh.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Mhm.
I mean, this puts a big body
But
out there
not-
too, which is great.
And we're choosing Moria and Kaku.
Oh, so interesting. So we're. I think that's actually is less guaranteed removal, but has the highest potential to get the removal of more bodies.
Okay. 2 down remaining, so you can have a couple decent swings in onto the Moria, which is now a 5K, right? So, and yeah, there's the Building Snake on the Jack. Yep. Marco into Jack.
So, yeah,
Okay.
Minus
so
3
this is
power.
6
So
and
what?
5.
Yeah.
Are we
Oh,
gonna
right.
expand
Moria's
2K to
9. I
save
don't know
it?
why I thought 8 for a second.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a gamble that we can get the removal from battle from one of these. If not, the Moria stays at 6K at least. But if we're able to defend this as Albao, we can get there. But no, just letting it go.
Letting go of Jack. Will he let go of Moria or protect it with all he's got?
I don't know how much he's got to use to protect it.
He's holding on to that. Yeah, 1 card.
Mhm.
And
This is
the
the
2K.
Suru for the 2K. So, and Moria does Moria does remain a 6K at least. You know, the Rayleigh
Yeah.
effect lasts until the end of the next turn, which is really nice.
Yeah, and now WF has his 1 done up, ready for that Rad Beam.
But another Moria enters their hand, though. That can get some, rebuild your board really quickly. We also have Kaido, which in conjunction with our leader effect can get rid of the Silvers. It's still a really menacing hand.
Yeah, WF in an awkward situation. Can't really safely play the Shanks here. And also, another Moria is about to come out too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you made this comment earlier, Eggman, where it's like, for Shanks, there's such a huge difference between 2 life and 1 life, as far as like
Yeah.
what the safe plays become on your turn. And so when I saw him take that life and go down to 1, I'm like, oh boy, we're in the danger zone now for sure.
And-
No
and this is
counter in
something
hand, yeah.
We're in the mind game zone, right? We've got 4 cards in
Totally.
hand. We know it's Rad Beam or nothing, but we've got to decide, you know what? Is it worth the 1 card, the 1K or not? But we're going to use the Rad Beam to get out of it and likely, survive another turn, but to what end?
Yeah, Shanks is not that safe to drop in anymore. And we do have a new gate and a Red Hawk here, but we have to find a way to clear out that Moria and maintain the, control of the board.
Yeah, and it's really brutal because if you can get out of this attack, you would 100% in my mind, right? And so saying that you're taking this 6K attack means that it's publicly known that you have no counter in hand. And
Seriously.
that is dangerous knowledge to give your opponent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you cannot do that.
Yeah. All right. Deciding to take it.
Ooh.
Keeping the Red Hawk. Could have used the -10. I mean,
I was
if you put
gonna
all the
say.
dot on Suru, you win here, right?
In a world.
Yeah, you do, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, averages
but
say you don't want to take that risk, you know? Maybe you do,
Unfortunately,
though.
I think we've made a bit of a misplay, potentially, of getting rid of the silvers. It just depends on if we think, yeah, we can get the removal. Yeah, Kaido could have gone the guaranteed removal, but yeah, just trying to see the best play now with this Rebecca Moria.
Oh, the pressure's on right now. I mean, this is the grand finals, so both these players are going to be sweating. You're going to see this little stuff happen here and there. Like 2 Tempest kicks back in the deck, if I saw that right.
Yeah.
There's Lucci.
Yeah, and I think we were trying to, if we had Suru in hand, yeah, we could have gone the removal. But yeah, this is maybe the foothold that we need from WF. And, you know, ironically, putting all that down on Suru would have won you the game, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't know what they have on their side. The hand,
Yeah, you don't know, yeah.
Maybe it's more of a red player mentality. Gotta have it.
I mean, this is just crazy now, right? Where, I mean, this is such a great opportunity for WF. I don't think in a million years he expected to have the Rayleigh coming into this turn. You've got this incredible asset at this 8K. That's huge. What do you do with it, though? Maybe, do you... the Shanks still feels so dangerous to play.
Yeah, for sure. Especially that he's blocked by a Rebecca also standing there.
Yeah, is that a Ben Beckman that he drew into this turn, too?
Yeah, but
so there's some
being
guaranteed
at
removal.
4 life, it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
we're kind of just waiting on them to have kind of some rough numbers. But yeah, we're going to go 10 into likely a Moria, and I think Rebecca's going to take the block there.
Oh, for sure.
Rebecca get the block.
2 attacks left here.
I mean, you can't get rid of the Moria, though. As far as oh, well, never mind. You have the... Is there one more? I'm trying to see his hand. No, yeah, it'd be really hard to remove the Moria, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we could put 4 and hope they have no counter in hand, then have 2 up for Red Hawk, but it's an expensive ass. No, actually, no, we have 7 Dawn left, so we can't even do that. We have to put 3 on Marco and then keep 4 open.
Yeah, it's already risky seeing that he has no life as well. So I think we might be going to a game 2 pretty soon.
Yeah, it's really difficult to get around that Moria that's not rested, right? You can take that one out, sure, but there's still going to be potentially 2 massive attacks coming in next turn, and you can't do anything about that. Yeah, that should be it. Right? Yep.
If we just put everything on the Moria, right? We start with the Rob Lucci just to proc the leader effect. We're going to use this to force another 2K.
Yeah, at this point it's just guaranteed lethal.
Yep. Because you've got that Spandine there too. You can always throw Dawn on, right? So
yeah,
you don't need to. You just throw everything on Moria after this.
Yeah, there's only 1K counter on WF's hand with the Ben Beckman, I believe.
Yeah.
Nugget and Shanks not doing much. So unfortunately, that is the risky play when playing Shanks. So many bricks, a lot of good stuff.
I mean,
but unfortunately,
if you want to go for the severe mental damage, you put it all on Spandine.
That'd be a flex.
yeah, we could. I mean, we could get the removal of Red Hawk right now. We're just going to use the -1, use the 1K out. So are we going to put everything on Moria?
Oh yeah, you got it. That's a smart decision. Right? Yep. All right, so we're going to game 2.
Yeah.
We go over to game 2 regardless. Yep. I'll bow with the lead.
1 game closer to Lucci supremacy.
Yeah, and you can see the relief from him, right? You know, there was a bit of a suboptimal turn potentially. He has to, keep it. He's smiling here. He was able to get the win otherwise, but he's got to lock in. The second game could be the difference for this match, and I'm really excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, Bao definitely had a lot of weight lifted off his shoulders when he won this game. Now he has that wiggle room in case that Shanks does pop off.
Yeah.
It's so funny too because you see the Shanks player with just 0 counter in their hand despite having like 5-6 cards, and And that's really kind of what was the catalyst for so many players trying to iterate on this list and find a way to kind of still have that late game strength, but just avoid being in that kind of bricky situation. And so with this list kind of looking like one of the, more OG lists, games like that, they will happen, They never feel good. And obviously, this player right here, WF has played enough of this list to not have to worry about that much. But every once in a while, you do get the no counter hand.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting if they decide to go first again. If they just felt like that's still the best way to approach this matchup, and we just need a slightly better start, or be able to play some larger bodies in the mid game. And decided to go first again.
Yep, for sure. Going first does help out when the 3s and the 5s. And just a matter of seeing big bodies early on to guarantee that play, and just enough counter to stay safe and drop that Shanks.
And if you can maybe just stay a little bit healthier going into that 10 Dawn zone, you can do exactly what you just said, Diego, and just be able to play that Shanks without as much worry, right?
Yeah, and WF, our Shanks player, deciding to keep their opening hand, and Albo deciding to try again, trying to find the perfect hand to potentially win on this game here.
Yeah, maximizing as much as possible by doing every shuffling technique here. I'm excited to see what Shanks has in his hand right now.
Right. I love they've got everybody using the Vegapunk sleeves, right? They're the Egghead Arc sleeves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
my favorites.
To these card fests.
The card fest sleeves.
Yeah,
correct.
Very nice. I've got a deck of my own sleeved up behind stage with it. They very lovely.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's what I got my Vegapunk list in.
Nice.
It just makes sense,
It does. It does for sure.
Yeah, it's one of the nicer sleeves for sure. Lovely graphic.
You guys bringing me back some swag? You bring me back some swag from Japan, Eggman? We only live like half an hour away from each other.
Yeah. Let me. We'll see how this game ends, and the
okay,
store's still open after this. But
I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you.
Oh, good.
If not, there's plenty of options here in Japan for sure.
Yeah. That's what these last couple days are going to be for me here for the perfect
speaking of
One Piece player hand.
Speaking of plenty of options, the hand looked pretty good for Shanks player for WF, right? You have the Ben Beckman starting off. That's always nice. Pretty decent hand too, honestly, for Albao as well. I mean, having the back in there, Tempest Kick. You've got the Rob Lucci as well. Kaido for a little bit later. Yeah, looking good.
Yeah, I'd say that they're maybe missing like either the 7-cost Jack or Moria, but the fact that on 4 we're able to play the Khalifa to be able to help find that is going to be pretty good. And I think both pretty standard starting hands for both players.
Yeah, it's just going to come down to the draw power and if they get into their big top end.
That's what we like to see. Things starting off on an even footing going into game number 2. But I say even footing in this game, but uneven in terms of match score, as again, Albao from China is just one win away from becoming the world champion of One Piece.
Yep, one win away from becoming the Pirate King for sure.
Right. See if WF, the hometown hero here from Japan, has anything to say about it. All right. Battle start. And it's going to be one down pass. Kind of an anticlimactic start of the battle, but that's
That's what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, 2 Dawn pass right back. Not too surprising either. We're going to have 3. And do we want to play out, anything out early? I think against most decks we could maybe afford to, but against Rob Lucci, where they have Brook and other easy removal, we're likely just to go this
Swing
6K into leader.
6.
Yeah. Agreed there. Take a life while you can, and yeah.
Seen a
Well, that life was the only life he took last time.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, we lose like a Moria.
Yeah. But we're going quick. I do appreciate establishing a 6K body is really good against Shanks because it kind of invalidates the leader effect, right? We were able to use that to get rid of the 5K attack, but establishing that was really, really nice. So we're going to 5K into Rob Lucci, 1K with Spandine out.
Yeah, and we're seeing finally a little more different cards. We see Sanji 2K, which could be also a big attacker in the earlier turns, but I think at this point it's already too far gone.
And I do
think
like
you're right.
establishing this Marco. They're going to have a hard time removing it outright, and it's just strong for this position we find ourselves in.
Yeah, you have to, right? I mean, this is a turn with Shanks. You have to either be playing that Yasop. The Marco is the stickiest thing you can play. You do need to have that event in hand, obviously, if you really want it to stick, but it gives you swings, right?
Yeah, and we're just drawing some really great cards for the next couple turns for our Shanks player.
WF is taking a lot of life, though, unfortunately.
Well, that's the scary part, right? And I mean, one of the ways you can try to mitigate having potentially a bricky hand, not counter or too much low stuff and not enough high-end stuff, is to take a couple life early on and just build that hand size. But yeah, that does come with its own risks here too. So far so good though. Much better looking this game, I think. WF.
Agreed. And
Yep.
so we're at what, seven down, right, Diego?
7. Yeah, so we might see a base attack with the Shanks leader, and then the Marco, and then play out Ben Beckman.
Yeah, I would love to see that from WF. But
Really makes the most sense.
deciding, yeah.
Just a 5K swing. Start things off, and yeah, I mean, in this case, you are kind of telegraphing the Ben Beckman a little bit, but then again, you're telegraphing it just by playing Shanks too. So
Yeah.
Right, it's the
I'll allow
Latent
respond,
curve.
yeah. Yep. It's a good one. It's a good one, right?
mhm.
You can drag in something you can maybe see later.
Yeah, Dragon is a pretty good card. It can add up to your leader or your characters to give it 2 more Dawn, and that's going to make your leader huge.
Yeah, just a 7K attack, then followed by a 9K attack is a little bit tough. But we're actually going to take this 5K, going down to 3.
Wow.
And yeah, maybe trying to pretend like we don't have a lot of counter in hand right now. But no, we're going to 2K out immediately right afterwards, though.
Yeah,
And
we're
there's
starting.
Beckman. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Looking at
We want to
the
get
what is that?
the
Kaku altar?
Kaku there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kaku Altar from OP3. 3. 2, yeah. But
You
letting
don't need
go
to name the
Two,
set.
yeah.
That's going too far. That's going too far, Diego.
Right. No, but, letting go the Kaku, it's better because Lucci can always come back in some sort of way.
Yeah, and
Right,
we
right.
do see Lucci already in the trash, right? So it's but yeah, I would say of the two, it's the better one to be in the trash right now.
Same attack value.
Yeah.
It's a big turn though for Albao. You're at this position where if you don't remove, at least one of these, you're facing exactly what you said last time, Eggman, where you've got a 5K, 6K, 7K swing, and then if there is a dragon in the hand, you've got that to worry about. So this is really a premium removal turn, we'll say, for Albao.
Yeah, and like maybe we could get rid of the Beckman, but the fact that Marco's going to be really hard to remove is troublesome. Playing a silver next turn from WF would be, I think, devastating. And the fact that we don't have a Moria or Jack to play right now is, the same thing. It's where we were missing from our opening hand, and we're still missing it a couple turns later.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of key parts of the hand, but not the main one, the Gecko.
I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but is there a world where you just play the Sabo?
I don't think that's too outrageous. It would protect from like a silver's removal. The cost or the power reduction would still take effect, but
Right.
I think there's a lot of potential for it.
Oh,
I'd be kind of tempted. Ooh, that's
Loose
another
Gecko
Moria
can
hit in
get
the trash.
attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like how that Sabo kind of counteracts a potential Silver Israeli turn. You've got, if they play Dragon, then you're not quite as thrilled, but Rayleigh is maybe the one you're really worried about.
Yeah, and I think like cost reduction is like a better way for removal outright. But even if they play Sabo right, you can still play silver and then attack into the 4-drop Rob Lucci, which will reduce to a 4K or 3K. But taking
Right.
the life on another 6K attack, going down to
Yeah.
2 now.
Ooh, yeah,
It's getting
that's-
dangerous here.
Wow. Has he played the whole tournament this way? This is like such a bold way to play Shanks.
Mhm. Doing an 8.
Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. Takes
Going to
another
one.
one, draws
Oh,
into a
another
2K.
one.
Oh boy. And there's
I
Sabo.
mean, another, was that another Sabo? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
that
So-
one.
Yeah. So is
And
this just a situation where...
Moria.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. All right, back over
So
to
tricky right
WF. So is this a situation where WF is saying, all right, I know he's probably going to remove one of my characters with just straight up minus cost removal. The other things that he wants to swing into, I want to have enough counter to keep alive. I wonder if
Yeah,
that's
we've
part of
got-
the thought
yeah.
process.
We have a pretty wide hand, and we have a decision coming up where Ben Beckman does not KO a card; it puts it into the trash. So even though
Yeah.
Sabo's protection is
Yeah.
going on right now, we could get some removal. I think Silver still might be a little bit better for trying to clear both bodies, but it's now a decision point for sure.
Yeah, both are pretty good cards. Being able to attack into Lucci for cheap is probably a good play. But Ben Beckman.
Yeah, and we could also like play Beckman and have 2 Dawn open for a Red Hawk, which could be
Yeah.
important to be defensive when we're down to 1 life, perhaps.
Mhm.
So
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
I think there's yeah.
I don't mind the Beckman because you're probably still going to have a solid swing into Rob Lucci anyway with your existing Beckman.
Mhm.
You want to pressure life at some point, but I really love what you said about keeping some Dawn open for Red Hawk. I mean, he's down to 1 health again.
Yeah.
He's definitely in the Shanks danger zone. At least he doesn't have an oops no counter hand, but you're still gonna have a hard time playing some of those 10 costs now.
Now we're almost a world apart, right, Doa? But even besides that, I can
Yeah.
feel your tense that he's down to 1 life. I can feel you being tense about it because it is so close to being out of the tournament, and
It bothers
this could be the last game for you. I could feel it all the way over here.
Yeah, all
probably
right, so he
thinking,
goes for the
They
Rayleigh
have an
player.
animal.
Yep. And so this is probably the better way to get removal on both cards, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're guaranteeing a cheap attack into the Lucci via the
Yeah.
leader and Marco.
You still threaten the Sabo too if they block. That's got to get countered out of. It does indeed. There's the attack. And the life.
Yeah, we went. Oh, we're going into
Oh.
leader. Okay, wow. So we're
Whoa.
calling them out saying, by giving these
Whoa.
reductions, you're not going to be able to pressure me enough for me to lose this next turn. They're going to be
Whoa.
3K, 4K, and 5K bodies respectively, and this is quite the call out.
I mean, this is WF saying, all right, my out in this game is just straight up winning, right? It's straight up just taking out
Yeah.
the life.
Mhm.
I've got a giant hand. It's basically just saying, hey, you know what? I've got a ton of counter in my hand, so come at me, you know?
Ton
Oh.
of counter. Yeah, he has way more than last time.
But having to
Oh, yeah.
counter out of the 7K attack instead of the 5K attack that we started with is a lot more expensive. So we are going to
Yeah.
pass back again. Rob Lucci, characters 3K, Sabo's a 4K, and going to, I believe, 10 Dawn for Elbow.
Yep.
This is wild, right? I mean, this is the world championship on the line, and WF just basically throwing down the gauntlet and saying, "Do you got it?"
Yeah, and that's the motto of Red. You know, we're doing the Hail Mary
Yeah.
every single time, backs against the wall, and going for it.
All right, we used Tempest Kick, and we were able to find another one. This could mean that we could get a great removal off of either the Kaido or there might be a potential for an 8-drop Mori getting a double removal here too.
Right? That would be huge. That would be backbreaking almost.
And the thing is that 9-drop Kaido doesn't really do much for the hand destruction when you have so many cards in the hand already.
So you think you just get Moria into it?
Yeah, perhaps Gecko Moria, yeah. Because you do get a wider board, you get to establish a Rebecca too, but it's very stressful.
Yeah. I think if you Gecko Moria here, you set up the blocker, you move some stuff. WF's going to feel very bad about those 2 characters that he let live last turn.
Yeah. And I think honestly the call out is that we didn't see the Moria being played last turn, right? Which would have been probably the better card to play. So hoping that they still don't have one available right now was the call out, even though at the end of the turn we were able to draw into our first Moria off the Sabo auto.
Yeah, so contemplating over here, potentially playing the Moria, we are attaching 1 to leader to guarantee to hit. Oh, Kobe.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, Beckman
we're gonna
used
go-
to counter out there.
Yeah. And there is the Moria. Yeah. We will be able to likely remove the silver. But that's really it. That's going to be what the turn is. And
All right.
but this is a pretty menacing board on the other side that WF has to face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
3 swings potentially.
you just don't have the removal in Shanks for dealing with this kind of board. You have to swing into things, but if they're not rested, good luck. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
this is a really scary position for WF to be in right now. When you're down a game in the World Championship for One Piece Grand Finals, can he possibly find a way to summon victory and get us to a Game 3 here?
And the last draws.
Oh my goodness! Did we just draw a Marco to try to get rid of this Rebecca? That
Oh,
could be
good time.
Yeah, he
huge.
certainly did.
Yeah.
Certainly did.
And
does
this
have-
this is the point where you got to be a world champion to do this math, right? There's a lot of different
Oh, yeah.
ways to interact with this board. If you want to try to go for it, if you think you can buy another turn to go for it next turn. We know there's not a lot of cards left in a Rob Lucci hand right now, and they don't tend to have a lot of counters. So
Yeah,
there's
there's a lot of lines.
different paths right
A lot
here.
of lines, but one through line.
Yes.
He has to see all realities and find the only one that provides a path to victory. Once again,
Shanks the protagonist. Yeah.
worked for Joshua in our last match. Will it work for WF here? Will he be able to bring the win to Japan in Japan?
Yeah, definitely wants to force this game 3. Wants to get another shot at going 2-1 at this match. And yeah, we have a whole toolbox of cards available to us. And yeah, I understand why we are deciding what is the best path for us moving forward.
Well, it's almost
Yeah,
like
he
you
can,
wish you had a smaller hand at this point, right? I mean, you've got almost too many things to think about. The permutations are endless, right? You do have to have the most giant brain right now. And he's going to go with the Silver's Rayleigh.
Ooh.
Decides to go for the minus power to try to survive that next turn. Removes the Rebecca. You've got the attack potentially onto the Lucci to clear one more body, or do you just keep swinging at life? Just keep trying to do the red thing and put pressure on.
Given the one brook.
Yep.
Do we have we have Red Hawk in hand, right? So we kind of need to have 2 Dawn available for us. Yeah,
You kinda do.
Deciding not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another swing. Looks like at life again from Ben Beckman, leaving 2 Dawn open. It's going to be
Use the
okay.
bounce block, yeah.
Yep. All right. Another blocker. At least that's 6K off the board.
And we have our 2 Dawn up and our life ready to take whatever comes his way.
Yeah, now it's kind of a numbers game back for Albo. We do have essentially 3 6Ks and a 5K and 10 Dawn to go with it. 2 Dawn open for WF, 1 card left in life, and I think 8 cards left in hand.
A lot of 2K counters.
Yeah. And honestly, with Albo's hand being these 3 cards, there's not a lot of options. I think we have to try to do our best to try to win this turn.
Yeah, backs against the wall right now for Gekomori. For Lucci.
Seems that way, but your opponent has so many cards in hand that you got to cross the fingers a little bit here. Now, it's unfortunate that Red Hawk can't remove anything. Nothing is 4K
Yeah.
power or lower. Yeah.
Just big defense.
Yep. Just counting on the just the power to give his own leader. All right, Sanji,
Yep,
2K blocker.
yeah, 2K.
2K counter, rather.
Also, you know, we're not a yellow deck, but there are some pretty fearsome triggers that can be in life for our Shanks play. We're going to do another 2K to get out of that one.
Yeah, we saw plenty of those back in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Red Hawk out of life, giving something minus 10k power for the turn is definitely an option to stay alive. Definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it's effectively a beige.
Yeah, very true.
And we still have all of our Dawn available to us. We might be trying to pivot to saying, all right, we weren't able to do any damage with these attacks. We can go, you know, 10 and 11 if we want to try to win this one. We're going to go big 6.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would imagine, I guess the Kaido's probably coming down then?
Seemed the scoop for Kaido. Oh,
We could also, I mean, it might be better to, we could put everything on leader and likely guarantee the Beckminster, you know, gets out of here.
Go to 0? Or send him to 0
if we want.
theoretically? Yep.
Do the Hail Mary, draw a card off Tempest coup. Yeah.
Hey, we're going for it. All right. I love it.
Yeah.
What do we got?
okay.
I couldn't quite see what it is.
Hina.
Is that
Yeah, I think it's,
is that the,
The Hina.
or
Yeah.
who's who? Hina?
No, I
Oh,
think
Hina.
it's a
Yeah, you're right.
3-drop
You're right.
Hina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you
we're
got
gonna
it. Yep.
use the Kaido. But this makes the math, I think, pretty easy. I think there's one card left in Albo's hand, right? We should be able to go some great numbers from WF and potentially get this game right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're seeing game 3.
Seems that way. Yeah, not a lot that Albao can do about this. With no blockers,
Yeah, just
I mean, you
confirming
never know what's going to
what
come out
card
of
in hand.
life. Yep. There it is. Okay. And then the 9. Yep.
Yep.
And then everything else on the leader. Wow, and we are
Shanks.
going to game
Yeah.
number 3. Crazy. WF from Japan manages to clutch it out and send us to a final game here at the World Championship Finals.
Yeah, we're gonna get 6 full games. Excitement.
And I think
I
it
love
was
it.
a great identification from WF. Right? We were concerned about the Silver's Rayleigh play, but clearly made the difference for this matchup. Was not the easy route for it, and I'm curious to see how the third game goes.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm
I
curious
am
to see
learning
the
so
mulligans.
much watching him play right now. Like,
Oh yeah.
taking the life early, getting that big hand. The threat of the big hand, the mitigation of the amount of no counter in the deck. Knowing when to go to life, like that. I love seeing this because it really does look like one of those quote unquote older lists we saw in North America, right? Before people start changing things and be like, oh, let's go full red hair with Uda, let's go animal. This is like the OG Shanks list, right? And WF is showing that he just has this mastery over the list that can deliver himself wins out of games that look like they'd be lost by basically anybody else. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, and you can just tell by the body language here, both of them are taking this really seriously, right? This is probably the biggest game of their life now, and they gotta take it seriously.
But it seems so. WF has picked going first every single time. So granting him second, would it really affect him all that much?
Yeah, it looked like
Doesn't need to worry about it.
Gets the decision, and he's saying, you know what, I like going second. It worked the first game, and let's try to make another game like that one.
Can't disagree. I mean, I think as Lucci, you do want to get to that Moria turn as fast as possible. You can play odd curve, sure, but it makes a lot more sense to be even here. And, so in that sense, both players kind of getting what they want as far as turn order goes. And we will find out in approximately 30 minutes or less who our world champion is for the 24-25 season. There can only be one.
Yeah, but only be one. And talking about the opposite of the seeing what we want, both players deciding that their opening hand's not great enough, going for a mulligan, and this is their last hand they're getting today for this format, for this season, world season. A lot on the line.
Yep. I love it. Maximum excitement. I mean, with the same card sleeves, you got to be careful not to give each other's decks, but they're professionals. They're not going to do that.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're here for a reason.
All right. Well, I think we with the games we've seen before, you know, we kind of know what both players are wanting to see, right? There's a lot of great 5-costed cards that WF is playing. So hopefully seeing either, again, Yasop, Marco would help out. Marco being able to be on board the entire game last game, I think helped him get enough damage to go for game there too. And we'll see what their opening hands are looking like.
Yeah, those pokes definitely mattered.
Man, I feel like if you're WF, maybe you almost just hard mulligan for a Ben Beckman and doesn't find it here, but does find a good amount of events here. You've got the Yasop, you've got the Rayleigh, so you've got some, you know, decent mid-game stuff, but I don't know. How do you feel about this hand?
It's going to be a little bit tough to adapt to. Having Yasop, I think, is great for something, though. And kind of equally, right, we have like some good like tech cards, and Sabo around curve would be good, but not seeing like the Rob Lucci, not seeing any of your high end, you kind of have to make sure you try to see that by your curve, or you're going to be behind.
Yeah, no big hitters inside, but I'm curious to see if WF is going to be taking life as easily as he did the past few games, because it does get a little concerning to be that low on life that late game.
Absolutely. We definitely saw that in the last couple games. We are about to get underway in what will be the final game of OP09 competitive play. This is the last game of the World Championship Finals of the 2024-2025 season. It has been quite the era. We have seen a ton of diversity in deck lists. Sure, we saw a lot of Dofi, but at the end of the day, it is potentially one of the 4 Emperors standing strong, or will it be Rob Lucci, ever the villain, putting a finger pistol to the hopes of Japan to take home a championship here? We'll see. We get things going.
All right, and yeah, not doing much for one Don. We could play the Building Snake, but again, the removal is so prevalent in the Rob Lucci. You don't want to risk just losing the card there.
Yeah, it's definitely you play it the moment you need to use it, pretty much.
Indeed. All right. And
deciding
kind of speeding through the first couple turns. And, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just going the 6. We're always taking that first damage in all 3 games. I think pretty understood. And hopefully trying to keep at 4 as long as possible. Going another 6, forcing either a card out of hand or taking the damage for WF as well.
Back over to WF, going to 5 Don here. You can imagine we're probably going to see the Yasop, given what the hand is at the moment. Yep. Is that a Ben Beckman on the far right there? I'm trying to.
Yep,
it sure is.
Yes, it is.
That is a huge card to get at this point in the game.
And here we grant plus 1k to our leader.
Oh yeah.
So with that Brook, there is potential for removal of this Yasop. If they have something like an Ice Age, we get a clean removal. Even like a Helmepa would be not too terrible. I think we also have a Khalifa there. So Khalifa with some one additional removal would be able to help us there. But at the same time, is Yasop worth our cost reduction to get rid of it?
He does have 2 Ice Age on deck, so maybe.
Yasop is a 6K too, so he does present a pretty valid threat. I think a lot of players will just want to remove him. I'm, on the WF side of things, you like being a 6K leader because maybe you can avoid taking another life and damage this turn, but Marco is obviously the ideal, or generally I would say the ideal 5 Don play, but again, I feel like you think of Yasop as like a block, right?
Yeah.
Regretfully, we did lose 1k Kamoria via the leader effect, and we're playing out Hina via Rebecca.
Yeah, I was going to say that Hina was a huge hit for us because then it lets us establish a body and remove Yasop with the Brook effect. So pretty fortunate to be able to find it there and being able to set up a blocker, set up a lot of attackers, and pass it right back to WF.
Indeed. All right, back over to WF now. Is there really a great Ben Beckman target even here? I guess maybe the Brook. But
yeah. Doesn't feel great.
You attack first and see what they do, I guess. I mean, Hina,
It's
you know,
definitely
has
something.
a lot of power. Yeah, it counters out of that attack from leader. Yeah, and you just got to get rid of it.
And we slam.
Feels a bit awkward, but you got to get rid of it.
And this is kind of the momentum that Rob Lucci likes to say, is that we have cards on board to get advantage from you. We make it difficult for your cards to, stay on board. And if we have another removal for this Beckman, the tempo is going to definitely shift to the Lucci side.
Definitely.
今アーバウ選手の手札が止まったか
All right, so we are at 8 Dawn right now. Gecko Mori is always a play when we see that, but attaching the Dawn to Hina might mean a Jack could be coming out, right? Gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, we're gonna be going for a 6 with the Lucci potential.
And you guys hear me. Well, I am going to talk as if people can hear me, and we'll see what's up. Let's take stock of the situation as we are now back here. Sorry, everyone, for the tech issues whenever you're working with this kind of thing. It can happen. It can happen. Looks like we're down to 2 health on the Shanks side of things. Can everyone hear me? You guys out there? Diego! Eggman! I'll just keep going here. Yeah, 2 health now for WF. Looking at look like a turn for him. All right, hopefully we'll get the other 2 back here soon. Meanwhile, pretty happy 4 health over on the about side of things. Ooh, Sabo thrown down. A little bit of hand filtering and a lot of defense. Only a Ben Beckman on the side of WF. That is a scary board to have to face. That is a bit of a lockdown coming from the Aobao side of things. Swing from the leader. Will WF go down to 1 health again? He's got a giant hand. Oki's just going to minus. Yep, there's a swing from the Hina. I feel like you got to counter out of this. I feel like you can't go down to 1 life. I mean, he's clearly a much better Shanks player than I am, but again, that 1 health zone is so scary. 2K, yeah, so decides not to take that life. I think maybe the last 2 games definitely having him sweat a little bit about that, and another Rebecca comes down. And that Ben Beckman is not long for the world, yeah. Easily KO'd there, and so now an empty board versus a triple blocker board with good attacking from the Rob Lucci. This really almost looks like things are near locked up for Aobao here. How in the world do you come back as a Shanks in this particular situation? No Silver's Rayleigh in the hand that I can see over there. A lot of minus power, but not a lot of power to go with it. And he's just going to play the Silver's Rayleigh from hand. I mean, at least it's a blocker. At least it's something to throw in the way of your opponent. And, you do get the secondary effect. Hey, you're back. All right, great. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
We're glad to be here.
And it's a bit of a different game we've jumped into, right?
Very
It's
different.
kind of all the big cards have been removed here. So we have all these defensive cards here, but we would love to find something with a little bit more like value here.
Yeah.
Right. Triple blocker, though. 4 health. You got the big Hina swing. I mean, Sabo technically is a 6K swing, I suppose, but
Yeah, it's pretty tough right now for Shanks, seeing no big bodies, nothing to stick in.
And I think Albo, our hand is equally as non-committal, but I love this play. This is a really heads-up play for this matchup. We're going to put Dawn early on our cards to get extra power, so we don't get the free removal of a leader effect plus Red Hawk.
yeah, that's so smart.
Very smart now that it's a game 3 and you fully know that he's have it.
With 4 Dawn open, it could be up to 2 Red Hawks even. So yeah, just trying to make sure that everything's above 4K. And are we safe here? How's Aobao to attack in?
Not seeing top end on WF side has been very unfortunate. You did see, our Ben Beckman, but Newgate, Shanks, potentially Gold Roger. So we're gonna see how he's gonna maneuver his way out of this with the phone book of counter that he has.
Yeah, and I think maybe the decision here is, do we put all this Dawn on Rebecca? It's
I
worth
love
it.
this. I love
This
this.
is such a fun play.
I love this. Is the world champ play right here, man. I mean, this is how you become the champion. And you know, I feel for WF, right? We saw the oops no counter game in game number 1. We're seeing the all counter game in game number 3. Like, we're living the Shanks life here, but it got him to the finals.
Yeah, and WF can't believe it. He's like, there's 6 Dawn underneath that Rebecca, right? Just to confirm. And that is such a heads up play.
All right, takes a life. What does he draw into? Looks like more counter from what I saw.
Yeah.
A Hongo, I think it was. Yeah, another 2K.
Yeah, and we do have the Tempest Kick. This is going to be able to help us get rid of the blocker.
Yep.
This is huge.
Oh, that hurts so bad. Yeah, there goes the blocker. Is he just gonna? You're gonna go for it? Nah, you can't go for it. But you've really set yourself up to play a strong end of the game here.
It is a very tough spot right now for WF. Having the blockers and a decent formal removal via Brook. Kind of hard for WF to come back for this.
Yeah, and we did end up drawing a Moria off that Tempest Kick for next turn. So finally, something to sink our Dawn into. But, I think we're going to see 3 6Ks from maybe some unusual attackers in the next little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put down on anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the ability to only have 1 attack at a time right now for Shanks, and he does counter out with the Hongo.
Yep.
Counter.
You might as well use it.
Yeah.
And it's so tough too because you've got that red rock, but nothing to remove with it. That really does hurt. All right, back to the turn for WF. What in the world? How in the world do you get out of this? What are you going to draw into? This is a big one. Biggest draw potentially of his one-piece career, and that's a Marco.
Oh, Marco's
okay.
Not too
I mean,
bad.
you can remove something. Yeah, I mean, it's something. You can remove something with this Marco at least.
Yeah, being able to get rid of this, obviously if Rebecca was still active, it'd be a little bit more impactful for the removal here, but you'd still appreciate the opportunity. You could maybe get a larger removal if you want to use like a reduction from like a Building Snake or a Otama from hand, but I think those just kind of have to stay there.
Yeah, we're securing Brooks' removal.
Okay, and there's a Building Snake too, so this Marco could get extra value too, really. Yep, there's a Building Snake. Minus on the Sabo. Yep.
Okay.
And I really like this because I would doubt, but not, I would doubt they'd put 6 Dawn on Rebecca again, so we want to be able to remove that off Red Hawk this next turn, and you have to pass it back once again.
All right.
Pretty strong comeback.
It was a bigger comeback than I think we would have expected, but again, WF knows how to make it happen. That Marco draw helped a lot. Does Aobao have the potential here to end the game? 3 Dawn open on WF's side and a huge hand, so it seems unlikely, but we'll see.
Yeah. Plenty of counter. Still to be
Very
had.
unlikely. Oh yeah.
Get the reduction there on Marco, and then maybe deciding, this is the only event we have in hand. Is it better to get rid of the Rebecca or make sure that the Marco can stay around to maybe attack next turn by discarding the Red Hawk?
It's a good question. I feel you really want that character on board. You're just not going to win without characters on board, And I think you have to play to what's going to get you the win, not play not to lose.
There we go.
Yeah, but
sense?
we do have a Rad Beam that I missed there, so that is a way to keep this Marco around. It's a heavy cost to do so, but
Yep. Speaking of heavy costs, you can make it even heavier if there's another bit of removal coming in here.
Yeah. And this is going to be, again, just a super wide board from Moria here. Being able to play the Rebecca into the Spandine, into the Lucci. And are we going to discard a card to keep this around?
I think you do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, I think you have to,
Yeah, the effect.
I'm 100% on board with that. Again, like, WF is playing to win. He's not playing to not lose, if that makes sense,
I feel it, and
Oh no.
we just get another 2K
Oh
into our
no,
hands.
another lime juice. 4 2Ks. I feel like the look on his face, you know, says a lot, right?
Yeah.
At this point,
Yeah.
finding Shanks is the one piece.
I know, right? Or a silver Israeli, or like my kingdom for a monkey D dragon, like anything,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
But
Dragon will be
you know,
huge.
sometimes if you play Shanks, sometimes you enter the Shanks zone, and I feel like unfortunately for WF, he is solidly in the Shanks zone right now, which is either all no counter or all 2K counter.
Yeah.
7K into the Hina. All right. Yeah, I think Albao's fine letting some of the stuff go. Becca block.
Yeah.
Prevent the Lucci from getting taken out. Yeah.
And passing with 6
Fantastic.
open.
I mean, it's a bit it's half bluff, half I don't have anything to play anyway.
Yeah.
Does about go for it now, seeing that he has Mori established at 6K Lucci, and the rest of all
Yeah.
is done for his leader.
Like I want to say about WF, like he's doing everything he can, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of players would be like, well, I'm just going to put all my Dawn on stuff because I can't play anything anyway. Well, that's communicating something too. So by leaving all this Dawn open, he's really kind of putting that bluff out there, saying, you know, maybe I have more events, maybe I don't. You have to try at least, you know. There's the health, and if this is a Shanks, no.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Interesting, though.
That is an event. Yeah, it takes it to hand. Is that a rad beam? Oh,
Yeah,
nope.
just
That's that.
conceding,
Just
taking the
conceded.
damage.
Yep. Wow, and that
Albo's
is it.
our winner.
Albao from China manages to take the victory 2-1. He is your One Piece world champion for the 2024-2025 season. What a look of relief. What a
Yeah.
long road traveled, and what a feeling it has to be the victor at the end of the day.